Need link building or content? Go to fatjoe.com. On-demand marketing services for agencies and teams. Fat Joe.
So, hello. Wow, I'm so impressed that you guys are still here and haven't fucked off already to the bar and stuff. Really good. So this is a clicker, I've never used it. Oh, it works. Okay, great. I'm going to talk about outreach emails, and especially those that don't get any replies. And hopefully, at the end of this session, you have some kind of guideline on how to do it differently. Just really short about me. I'm Bibi the Link Builder. I got inspired by Bob the Builder to get this name. I have an agency. We have about 30 people, 4 teams, and we cater to clients worldwide. We're specialized in cold outreach. We do guest posts, resource links, and we also come up with linkable assets that get passive links, but that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about outreach emails. So raise your hand if you love doing outreach. You are a liar. But no, you're not a liar. I'm kidding. There are some people that really like outreach. So raise your hand if you don't exactly like doing outreach, but you know you need to do it, so that's why you're here. And good. You're in the right place. I got you, fam. And talking about family, this is my sister. She's one of my team leads. Don't know where she is. She's somewhere here. You'll see some people from my team and friends that will show up on the slides. Let's talk about the link building process. So there's a lot of moving parts in a link building process. So you have the target page and you have a linkable asset. You have to analyze what your competitors are doing. You have to do prospecting, content ideation. And the most hardest thing of all, you have to keep everybody invested in the link building. So you have to talk to PR, to the head of growth, who's breathing down your neck, right? Why aren't the links coming in? And then you think, oh crap, now I need to email people. And it's often an afterthought after all the hard work. And this is where a lot of people mess up. So what you do, you Google a template that seems to be working well because somebody says so, and you just copy. So I asked Pitchbox to analyze 10 million emails and see what kind of phrases pop up the most. So all you link builders really love using these phrases. Hope you are well. Wanted to reach out. I came across your website, which is always a lie. Looking forward to hearing. We also have, please let us know questions, let us know interested, please tell us and feel free. If you want to see the full data study, it will be released in a couple of weeks. It will also tell you which phrases convert the best, so it's not just all negative stuff. When you're doing link building, one of the best ways is to do warm outreach, where you're already friends with somebody. But that takes a long time, and that's why a lot of people do cold outreach. But with cold outreach, you don't have to just barge in the door. You can make a connection with somebody, and a connection is different than a relationship. Just real quick about relationships. I'm not specialized in relationship link building. A friend of mine is, and he has released also a guide. So if you want to look it up, it's Do Follow Relationship Link Building. So how do you connect with cold outreach? Especially you all, SEOs, me included. I mean, we talk a tough game where actually we're just nerds behind a computer and we're all kind of shy. One thing that's really important is to realize that email is copy. So invest as much time and energy in your email copy as you would do in a blog post or on your sales page or your landing page or whatever. You have to show that you share an interest with a person and that you're interested in them. And there are different ways to go about it. But why am I saying this? It's because when I started link building, everybody was complaining about specifically mommy bloggers. It was back in the day. They say, oh, these mommy bloggers, they're always so rude and are asking for a lot of money. So I went into a group and I asked, what do you hate about link builders? And they didn't say it was spam. They said they haven't looked at my site. So that was really interesting to me because it means that if you show interest in somebody in an authentic way, then they might give you a link and they won't ask you for money. So how do you do that? This is Matt. He likes Dungeons and Dragons. You have to try and find out what their lingo is. So for instance, if I was emailing Matt, I would talk about saving throws, because that has to do with Dungeons and Dragons. Are there any Dungeons and Dragons players? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Other stuff that I actually don't know what it is. Economic entity assumption. I think it has something to do with real estate. Mortise and tenon joint and focus stacking have something to do with photography. But these are all words that you can use in your email to show your interest. But it does mean that you need to research a little bit. One other thing, and everybody's going to groan about this, is be different. It doesn't mean that you have to be a unicorn snowflake or something, but you just can't go around reusing a template that somebody else has already used 1,000 times before. So when you look at an email, every word counts and every element counts. And that's what I always tell my teams when I review their emails. I go into every element and say, okay, this is typically link builder talk, you can't use that. So that's also why they're looking so sad, because I'm torturing them. So here are some of the elements. You might know all of them, but it's a subject line, something you want to ask, a segue to the ask, a sign-off, a salutation, an intro, value proposition, and also the footer. So I've won some links with just putting a little element or a friendly joke in the footer, and somebody would come back and say, okay, you know, your cat joke, it got to me. Here are some examples of bad elements and good elements. So subject line. Request guest post. It's been done a lot. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't work, but a person, it sounds so transactional that a person will ask you for money because they know that you're a business and they're a business, but that's not what you want to do. You want to make a personal connection, an instant connection with somebody. So here's another example under it. Raising Tiny Humans, a daily dose of colorful chaos and love. A pitch for, and that was clearly parenting blog. And people really responded well to that one. Here's an example of an intro. I think you've all seen this. I hope this message finds you well. While browsing the internet, I came across Uli and was impressed by the exceptional content quality, blah, 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 and it just goes on. I was immediately turned off. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work, but it's been done a lot. Here's an intro that we did for a computer brand, and then we're targeting graphic designers. And this is Sammy. He's either a turtle or a pineapple. I can't really work it out, but this is what he wanted to show up on the slide as. It says, this is the subject line. Question, do you know what the first tenet of design is? And then when somebody opens the email, it says, using the word tenet instead of principle because it's symmetrical. Now, nobody's laughing, but you're not graphic designers, right? A graphic designer would maybe chuckle a little bit. And this is 2 years before the whole viral AI thing. Hello world, greets the mildly humorous AI eating through all our personal data within the trenches of the internet. If you're not a robot, this is urgent. So this is where you can put a little bit of storytelling in there, you can engage with somebody, and you actually are speaking their language because it's all about design and talent. If you want to see more examples, because I can tell you a lot more, go to a video Ahrefs did. It's where Sam O, he did an email and I gave him feedback. And after that, he couldn't walk anymore. He was just like so devastated. But go watch that email, then you'll see a lot more examples. But when you see examples, don't copy, because marketers ruin everything. They just are so obsessed with scaling. I mean, I love you guys, but so obsessed with scaling that you find something that works and then you copy, 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 and then it stops working. So what then? This is something I call segmenting and theming, and it's not new. It's very similar to email marketing. So you have a list, and it's very varied. And then it's really hard to make an email that makes that instant connection. So you segment your lists a little bit more. For instance, if you're reaching out to food people or food magazines, only reach out to vegan food magazines, or only reach out to bakers or something like that. And then you do some research, you look into their wants and their pain points, and you use their lingo and their interests. and you theme your whole email accordingly. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that bakers talk about all the time. It can also be a correlated interest or something that's going on with everyone at that point. So here's an example of a workflow. First always starts with dig and dump. So you have your list and you start Googling around and you dump it all in a doc without actually thinking about how you're going to use it. And these are the elements that you can look for. Industry leaders, needs, puns work really well. So every niche has their own puns. We have our own puns. Dentists have their own puns. It's a really easy way to make an instant connection. But you can also talk about trends in the industry or quotes from influencers or things like that. So here's an example. So this is about, for financial side, future customer base, brands as a life coach, and how do you define optimism? The thing is, when you make the list of notes, you don't think about the email, don't think about how you're going to use it, don't judge yourself, because you need to get into that creative flow. So I always tell people, spend about 30 minutes just putting shit down in a note, and then you step back and you go to a draft. So from all those notes, you start claying or Legoing a draft. And here you see a robot doing it. So we use all those notes, and then we think about all the different elements of the email. And we also started using Geppetto. That's what I call ChatGPT. And here you can see how it can help. If there's a Geppetto, because, you know, Pinocchio wanted to be a boy and all that stuff. So here's an example of a writer that I really like, Samantha Irby. And the theme of the email in this case was a bad day, because the target list was varied, so I couldn't really theme it according to the industry. And I did an intro about a bad day, and then I asked Geppetto to make it more weird. So I'll read it out real quick. Sure, here's a more weird version of the bad day in the style of Samantha Irby. Today has been a wild ride. I spilled hot coffee on my shirt, missed my train, and left my phone at home. But that was just the appetizer. My boss chewed me out for a mistake I didn't make. I got caught in the rain and my umbrella turned into a fish. And then I stepped in dog poop that was actually a portal to another dimension. I mean, what is even happening today? Is this real life or a twisted episode of Twilight Zone? So this is way too long, of course. We shortened it down. But it worked really well because it was storytelling. It had a strong theme and people could connect with it. So again, cold outreach is connection. What's really important, though, is to step back once you have a draft and read it out loud and edit anything that doesn't sound right or is just too much. So you look for stuff that sounds very link buildery. All the stuff that's going to be in that case study that I came across stuff. You don't try to pressure someone into giving you the link, so you don't avoid anything salesy. Very important, avoid passive-aggressive corporate sentences, like per my last email, or so, those kind of things. Fake flattery is really important to avoid. So if you're saying to somebody, oh, I really loved your site, it sounds fake because you're not backing it up. Why did you love somebody's site? There is a way, and that's a little bit shady, to make a template and give somebody a compliment, but still back it up. So for instance, if you're reaching out to health bloggers, they all have a green smoothie, right? So you can say, I really liked your recipe of green smoothie, but when I made it, it tasted horrible. I hope I get it right next time. I actually did this, so not really ethical, but so if you give somebody a compliment, you have to back it up. Another thing is empty statements. So if you say, my linkable asset or my article is going to be very informative, you have to explain why. Here's an example, again, of the graphic design. And this was for the computer brand. It says, I'll be bold and say, you're just my type. So you can only do this flirty thing if you're reaching out from a female persona. So that's also really important to think about who you are and who you're reaching out as. Hey, what did the printer say when it ran out of paper? Oh, shit, brooms. Just wanted to get a chuckle out of you to make things less awkward when I throw you a pitch. It seems this pandemic is never ending. Work from home and homeschooling are a new reality. So let's jump into this dumpster fire and roast some optimistic marshmallows. I can't see the futura, but I know we'll be beautiful together. Crop it like it's hot. So this is again a really old template. It was just around the pandemic, but people really, really liked it. And we have people that want to hire us. We have people that start talking in the same language. So, for instance, we did a Dungeons and Dragons template, and people it was for IT nerds, and then they started replying in the same vernacular. But also we have people that say, you made my day. And that's really cool because you have spammy email, and then you have okay email, and then you have email that's actually entertaining, and it's somebody wants to read, and they want to continue the conversation with you because they might get more. Yeah, so I can go on about this, but I'm thinking about creating a guide. So if you want to know more, fill in your email at this link. And then I think about if 100 people fill in their email, I might actually do a guide, but it's a long process. So yeah, you're awesome, and thank you guys as well. And that's it, and go win the links.
Need link building or content? Go to fatjoe.com. On-demand marketing services for agencies and teams. Fat Joe.